how to use failure to succeed. In this video, I want to share with you one of my recent failures where I lost $5,000 in a week. How do you feel about these things in your life that don't work out? Today, let's take an honest look at our lives and look at these things that don't seem to work out in our lives. And maybe through this video, you can see these things from a different light. First, let's not call these things failures. Let's call them temporary defeat. I first heard about this word from the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Highly, highly recommend, okay? So let me tell you what happened to me. Quite recently, I've had a pretty big temporary defeat in my business. A lot of you know that I run an Amazon business. I sell a few physical product brands on Amazon, and usually my business is doing very well. I'm a six-figure seller. I've been doing this for a while, so sometimes, I get relaxed and get complacent. And the past few months, because I've been so focused on choosing gratitude, this project here on YouTube, I was not paying enough attention to my Amazon business. I was basically just put it in the back burner and let it keep running itself. And for the most part, it was doing well. And to be honest, I was just not checking it as often as I should. And about 2 weeks ago, it was my son's spring break. So he spent a whole week with me at home where I usually work. And when he is home, I'm distracted. I have to constantly think of things to entertain him. I have to take him to different places, and of course, I want to spend quality time with him. So during this spring break, for the whole week, I really didn't have enough time to do as much work as I normally do. And as a result, for a whole week, I didn't really check on my Amazon business. I just thought it was going well. Let's just keep going. And toward the end of my son's spring break, I checked my Amazon sales and I was like, oh my God, what happened? So what happened was that for the past entire week, I was making only like 20 or 30% of my daily sales, or if not less. So my sales has dropped to a level that was horrendous, and I didn't know why. So my first reaction is that was a big failure, right? And there was a little bit of panic. Once I started checking, I really couldn't find anything wrong with it. Everything seemed to be exactly the same, and I really didn't know what could have caused this drop in sales with no explanation. Then I suddenly realized that I was reacting to this situation sort of in a negative light, right? Because I was blaming myself. I was trying to use action to figure out why. And then I went into my meditation and I asked my higher self, what exactly is wrong? And when I was sitting in meditation, first I just heard nothing, but I was able to calm down. I was expecting my higher self to tell me, you need to do this or you need to do that to fix your business. But all I heard was, just think about 2 years ago this time. 2 years ago at this time, I just launched my very first product. And at that time, I was only making maybe $100 a day. And I remember at that time, there was one day I made $300. I was jumping up and down in joy, thinking that this is awesome, So my higher self was basically telling me that nothing has changed. So the number of sales is not the problem. The problem is my reaction to it, right? So who is there to decide that this $300 a day sales is bad? It was me, right? It was my expectation. It was the standard I set for myself. And then I realized that, if I could be grateful back then for this level of sales. Back then I was more than grateful. I was excited. And then I was asking myself, why am I not excited anymore today at this level, right? So all I needed to do is to go back to that feeling of being passionate about my business, of being happy about myself, of telling myself, you're doing a great job. So I did just that. I spent the rest of the day not complaining about this, not trying to figure out why, but I was simply telling myself that I am grateful for still making this sales, and I know that out of this feeling of gratitude, some solution will emerge. And I was right. The next day I woke up, I just had this idea in my head that something was wrong with the Amazon pay-per-click advertising setting. I checked that before and I couldn't find anything wrong, but this time I clicked a few different places. Amazon is an extremely complicated platform. I'm not gonna go into any technical details, but basically after a little bit more research in this pay-per-click advertising arena, I figured out why that happened. After I changed that setting, I had to wait a few days for it to gradually come back, and it took about a week for my sales to come back to the old level. Did I lose $5,000 in sales or more during that week? Absolutely. But do I consider that as a failure? It really depends on how I look at it, right? If you experience anything in your life that doesn't work out, I want you to look at the part of it that is already working out. I want you to look at how far you have come to be exactly where you are and celebrate that. And if you can truly go into that place of appreciating yourself, of being grateful for exactly where you are, the right solution will come, and I can guarantee you that you will know what's the next step to go to take you out of this temporary defeat. Remember, life will constantly deliver challenges to you. Now you maybe say, yeah, right, I would like to make $300 a day. That would be great for me. But now let me ask you this. Let's say, for example, you go to a job interview and you didn't get the job. You consider that as a failure, okay? You can always ask yourself, so is there something about this situation that I can be grateful for? And you realize that just few years ago, you didn't even have the qualification to apply for that job. You can focus on being grateful for having the qualification to apply for the job, right? And think about it. All of us, when we were born, we couldn't even walk. And I still remember the first step my son took when he started walking, how excited I was. We just need to keep celebrating life like that. And life is not about what we achieve, but it's really about how much we're growing. As long as you're growing, it's okay. And also, all of these challenges that occur in your life, they are part of the growth process. Imagine if you live a life that has absolutely no setback, absolutely no so-called failure, or absolutely no temporary defeat. You wouldn't be able to grow stronger mentally, physically, and spiritually. It's just like when you're working out, when you're lifting weight, you need that weight to develop your muscles. And it's exactly the same way in creating your dream life. Starting today, don't see these temporary defeat as failure, but rather use these things as a way to celebrate how far you have come, and just celebrate that and accept yourself exactly where you are, and wait for the wisdom to come from within yourself to tell you exactly what you need to do next to turn your situation around. If you want to use failure to succeed, practice self-love. Self-love will guide you to turn your life around. So start with accepting yourself. Start with deeply and completely love, honor, and accept yourself no matter what is happening in your life. If you want to further develop your self-love as a practice, I highly recommend you to start doing EFT. I have a video that I made months ago about developing self-love using EFT, emotional freedom technique. I highly recommend you to watch that video and start cultivating self-love, and your life will change. I will see you in that video.